Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, we get smart about staff retention. Look at taking a business from market stall to international sales and get advice from a Young Australian of the Year. Recruiting and retaining quality staff is always tricky as a small business. You're often up against tough competition with deep pockets and big promises. We've got the expert word on addressing that challenge for you today. Then a bit later, we sit down with Australian jewellery designer Samantha Wills to get the story behind her international expansion. But up first, news you can use.
One of the most common reasons customers abandon online shopping carts is the barrier of shipping costs. But what you may not realise is that customers are more likely to pay a higher price if the shipping is free. Not only that, but offering free shipping can actually encourage customers to buy more. Studies have found that orders with free shipping are on average 20 to 30% higher in value compared to those where people have to pay for delivery. So think about building the expense into your online prices, or put thresholds in place where orders over a certain value are shipped free. It might be the answer to your online sales.
Stuart Dale runs a family business manufacturing uniforms and selling supplies for hospitality students and staff. It's a great market he's in, but struggles to find staff with the confidence to sell. Now, to help Stuart get the right people on board and keep them, Red Balloon's Megan Bromley dropped by with her tips.
Stuart, tell me about the history of Fraser and Hughes.
Fraser and Hughes was an older department store in the Darlinghurst area, and this was the menswear section. My family managed it from the late 1920s and then later went on to purchase it in the 50s. We started out basically a menswear store that developed into industrial gear when King G started, and then from there in the 80s we developed into hospitality only and manufacture the hospitality uniforms. And we have an online presence and do wholesaling, but we're mostly retail. And our big emphasis on our customers is to try and encourage them to buy our product as an apprentice and then keep them.
A customer for life.
Yes.
So from a people perspective, how many people do you have employed by Fraser and Hughes?
There's 19.
19 in total. Yes. And are they across part-time, full-time? What's the demographic?
All of the above. We've got full-time, we've got part-time, we've got permanent part-time, and we have outdoor workers. An outdoor worker is someone in the clothing industry that works usually from their home. And that's
so a very flexible environment.
Yes.
Wonderful.
We're a small business. That's something that has to happen.
So what are your biggest people challenges at Fraser and Hughes?
At the moment, finding them with the skill in the manufacturing, the machinists. The next biggest challenge is retail. And retail, finding people with confidence, willing to talk to the customers.
So what's your current recruitment strategy for both of those?
If I'm looking for the sales person, I want to know the confidence in that person. And it's usually interview them and leave them on their own to see if they will come out and just talk to me.
Do you get them to do a little role play, a test run of selling the product to you?
No, I'll just go quiet and leave them in a position, a very nervous position, where they have to talk about themselves.
Okay. I think it could be a good idea to get someone else involved in the recruitment process, so you've got someone to bounce ideas off after the interview's actually happened. I'd also recommend having a group interview process where if you do have a role that you need to fill, you can invite more than one candidate in at the same time to get a feel how would they operate in a group environment, just not that one-on-one interaction. Sometimes if you make people too nervous, it can put them too far outside their comfort zone, and you're not going to get a really true reflection of who they are and how they might perform when they're actually on your shop floor.
Right, I can see that. Yes.
After the break, Megan shares her recruitment and retention strategy.
This is brought to you by Microsoft. Your small business is now anywhere you are.
Hi, my name is Mike Hill from Microsoft. High-profile disasters have made disaster recovery solutions top of mind for many organizations. However, systems can go down for many reasons, whether it's a break-in, a fire, or power outage. In Australia, 40% of SMBs who encounter some kind of disaster don't come back into business. It's not just the building and equipment that gets destroyed, it's the data they use to run their business. So I've outlined a couple of tips to help you get started. First of all, a good backup strategy is the best defense against data loss. You need to understand your existing backup strategy. What is the risk with your current backup or disaster recovery solutions? Secondly, let's look at the technology. You can look at disaster recovery by leveraging Hyper-V Replica, the built-in disaster recovery features of Windows Server. And thirdly, you can also look at cloud solutions. Microsoft Azure provides a great solution which is fully encrypted and geo-redundant within Australia at a very affordable price. If you don't have the expertise in-house, then make sure you are working with a qualified Microsoft partner. You can find a partner near you on the Microsoft.com website.
For more business insights, go to microsoft.com.au/small business.
Fraser & Hughes is a great little retail business, but is suffering from high staff turnover and a lack of punch in its sales team. Let's get some tips for turning all that around.
Stuart, what's your current turnover rate of people?
This year's going to be a tough year. It'll be around about 30%. Normally we don't turn over a lot, but we've had a number of part-timers and casuals finish university degrees, and they'll be going off and on to their new skills.
Industry standard is roughly around 10 to 20% across all industry across Australia. So given your 30%, I think it would be really important to make sure that you do have a recruitment strategy in line, ready to manage when that turnover is actually happening. I think one of the important things to remember is that turnover doesn't need to be a dirty word. People will leave your business, but it's about how prepared are you for when that actually happens. So with that, are you prepared for the recruitment phase that you need to go through for bringing new people into the business?
Never properly.
Okay, so some recommendations that I'd have in terms of making your recruitment process a little bit strategic is to establish a direct relationship with one or a few of the TAFEs around here in terms of having that constant feed of talent that you could potentially have coming through to the business. So just not when you need to recruit that you go out and find someone, but you're in an active state of building up a talent pipeline. So when you have roles that come up, that you're actually able to call people rather than needing to seek people all the time. One of the things I noticed on your website is that there's no careers link or no work for us. All you need is a simple email address for people to get in touch with you so you can really start to build up that talent pipeline. And have you ever taken the time to sit everyone down individually to ask them how they like to be recognised on an individual basis?
Went down that path probably around about 6 or 7 years ago. Have I been back down that path? No.
Okay, because I'd say if your recent turnover had been 30%, some of those people probably aren't here anymore. So in terms of making sure that your team is motivated, recognition's really important, and making sure that you find ways where people can actually grow in their roles. We have a statistic at Red Balloon that you should be recognising someone at least a minimum of 8 times per year to making sure that they have that engagement back to your business and the engagement back to the performance levels that you need from them as well. Stuart, thanks for inviting me into Fraser & Hughes, and I wish you all the best with your people.
Megan is spot on there. Staff turnover doesn't need to be a dirty word if you're well prepared when staff do decide to leave. That means having a recruitment strategy in place and being prepared with training and developing a talent pipeline. Okay, now it's time for Lessons from Legends, and this week we have Brat founder Brad Smith.
Hey guys, Brad Smith here from Brat Motorcycles. And my 3 tips for creating a high-performance organisation start with making sure we know it's our job as a leader to allocate resource to the most high priority and high leverage operational tasks and requirements in our organisation. The second thing is to make sure we create a culture that inspires our people to want to be more and to do more than what they thought possible on their own. Create a high-performance culture. And the third thing, and maybe the most important thing, is to make sure we measure. Know the numbers, know the critical drivers that create the outcomes in our organisation. And make sure we measure so we know the answer to this statement. How many leads do we need to generate based on our current conversion rate to meet our sales targets? So measure, measure, measure. Good luck, go for it, and go big.
Up next, Australian jewellery success story, Samantha Wills. This business tip brought to you by NAB, helping Australian business see more, not less. Dean, as we go into 2015, what are some of the big trends in the economy you're seeing that will affect small business?
Well, I think first and foremost, David, the consumer still remains somewhat fragile. I think small business really does need, perhaps more than ever, a deep understanding of consumers and their behaviour.
OK, some of the other trends?
Well, I think we're all now very familiar that there are some clear challenges emerging from the slowdown in mining investment. Small business really should also be mindful of the potential opportunities as our economy rebalances over time. More broadly, it is the services part of our economy that's growing quite strongly. We're spending more on travel and entertainment and eating out, education and healthcare. Within agribusiness, demand continues to grow for premium Australian value-added products. And finally, I'd say with the lower currency, hopefully we'll finally see some welcome relief for our exporters. Good news. And a final tip? I think finally small business really needs to adapt to what I would call a new normal for our economy, and that is more moderate house price growth than some cities have been experiencing, perhaps a lower currency, but also higher unemployment. And while it's clearly not our expectation, a significant rise in unemployment would probably trigger rate cuts. And I think fundamentally a healthier but still a quite cautious consumer. That's fascinating. Get used to the new normal. Thank you, Dean. Great advice. Thanks, David.
For more tips and stories, visit nab.com.au/more-for-business. Samantha Wills started selling her handmade jewellery at the Bondi beach markets, and from there has gone on to build a global jewellery empire. It's a great story about starting small and working really hard at a product. KBB's Alex Brophy caught up with Samantha to hear how she did it.
So Samantha, it's a remarkable business story from the Bondi beach markets to an international fashion brand. How's the business grown over that time?
I did it by myself for about 3 years, so I genuinely say it was kind of a hobby for the first 3 years because I, was making it, invoicing, doing the sales, doing the marketing, and I just didn't know what the back end needed to look like. So I had all the branding and the design and the creative, and really needed to put that logistics and supply chain in, and met my business partner about 3 years into that journey, and he came with a very business and savvy background, so he essentially established the back end to commercialise what I was doing at the front end. It feels like a long way, and some days it doesn't feel like a long way. Now we have offices in New York, Seoul, Tokyo, Paris, so it's definitely on a global platform, but we still apply, I guess, everyday teachings from those early days in the daily business.
So you've managed to hit a sweet spot where you've got a high-end product, which is also approachable. How much of that is down to the branding? What
I wanted from the start, and I often say this about creatives, is you have to choose from the start whether you want to be an artistic creative or a commercial creative. And from the very start, I started a business to make money and to be that commercial creative. And I think we invest a lot of time, resources, energy, research into that branding space, and that allows us to sit in a bit higher market but still have that commercial entry price point.
And has the approach differed at all on the international scene compared to what you're doing in Australia?
And I think spending time in the market, especially in America, if you go over there, you fly in, you're like, here's the collection, then you jump on a plane the next week. They're kind of like, why would we commit to you if you're not committed to us? So for me, it was about spending solid time there. I now live there and run that side of the business from there. So I think it's really knowing your market from a retail and a marketing space.
And it comes down to that fundamental being there, almost door knocking, showing your face and putting yourself behind your brand.
It's definitely about the hustle, and I think if you're not there, someone else will be. So yeah, you've got to be there ready for that opportunity.
Celebrity placements and endorsements have been a huge boon for you. How do you go about securing those people and then leveraging their brand?
Yeah, everyone says, once you get it on a celebrity, does that make the brand? And it really isn't the case. We've placed on pretty much every A-list celebrity, and we've been very, very lucky in that instance. From the start, it was very organically placed, so if a celebrity was out here, our contacts through our networking would place it on them and shoot it for a Clio or a Cosmo. As we got to a more global level, we definitely employed PR and branding in the States who have those direct relationships with the stylists.
Now you've expanded into handbags, eyewear and stationery as well. How do you know which sort of new venture is going to work within the Samantha Wills brand?
It's a very organic, I guess, expansion. It's kind of like, even when we're doing range reviews, so my designs will come back in and it's like, would I personally wear that yes or no. If it's a no, then it doesn't go in the collection. I think that's a really good way to define your brand aesthetic.
You still sound incredibly hands-on, sort of, you know, from visiting the manufacturing facilities, doing all the designs yourself. Have you handled the delegation side of things?
I have a very good team around me. I often say I don't think I'm very good at what I do, but I am able to choose very good people to work around me, and I think that allows me to do what I am good at, which is the creative. But yeah, putting in definitely a good management structure who manage each division of the company, and then I work closely with that team is definitely key to our success.
It's a terrific business story. Thanks a lot for your time, Samantha.
Thank you.
What a great story, taking a market stall to the world and learning some important lessons along the way. As Samantha said, the most crucial thing has been to choose smart business people to work with and putting in place a good management structure. It's great advice. Don't forget, if you'd like to recap on anything in today's show, you can rewind at kbbtv.com.au. Coming up next, a tech tip from Val Quinn and another question answered in Ask Kochie.
This is brought to you by Microsoft. Your small business is now anywhere you are.
Hi, I'm Rob from Mownblow, aka the Weed Killer, and I keep the gardens looking lean, mean and green. We've done lawn maintenance for the past 2 years, but we've decided to ramp up in the last 6 months. We had an idea and a concept to provide reliability to our client base and a really good service, which is two very important things that our customers want. What sets us apart from our competitors is our reliability. Any customer that visits our website and submits an inquiry, we like to respond to them within the hour. Being on the go, it's fantastic to have Microsoft Outlook in the palm of our hands because it allows us to respond to our customers while we're on the job.
Hi, I'm Julian from Mownblow. They also call me the Edge Cutter. The Here Drive function's great. It's like a GPS in your pocket. So my teammates pin the location in Here Maps, then we share the location in the room, and then we use Here Drive to navigate turn by turn to the location.
My name is Jason and I'm known as the Grass Tamer. So using the room function in the People Hub in Illumia, it's allowed us to not only just chat amongst each other, but also view each other's calendars, see which jobs each person's at.
If Jason or Julian actually go out to visit one of our clients and provide a quote, they can get our opinions on the job. They generally take photos of the site and they upload them into the room. It gives us instantaneous view of what they're looking at. The accessibility with OneDrive allows us to upload all our photos, our profit and loss, our invoices, our quotes, and it's visible for all three of the partners to see. So the invoicing is pretty much done through a Word document. It's as simple as uploading the template onto an email and shooting it off to our customers. After we've sent the invoice out to our customers, we record the invoice on our Excel spreadsheet, which pretty much acts as our profit and loss. We hit save, and it's visible to all three of the partners in the business.
Oh, the camera's awesome on this phone. So after every job, we like to capture the work that we've done.
Using the room function, it allows me to share the photos. That way we know before we get to the job what type of job we've got and how we can tackle the job. And we can also discuss when we should go and what type of equipment we need to use.
Julian kind of sends me, a note on a job that he's done, and he'll upload a photo and say, "Enjoy the weeds." I'm like, "Thanks."
Honestly, these phones helped us be much more organised and be in sync with each other and collaborate our work and our day.
It's definitely helped our business.
Yeah, we're really excited about the future of Mownblow. I think we've got miles ahead of us.
For more business insights, go to microsoft.com.au/small business.
It's Tech Tip time with Val Quinn.
Often you need an expert to do the job right, but you might not have this person in-house. Well, with online outsourcing platforms like Elance Odesk, Freelancer.com, Sidekicker, and more, you can connect with the world's most talented developers, designers, writers, marketers, admins, and others. You can tap into high-quality professionals, and online profiles let you see what work they've done in the past and how people have rated them. You can find someone quickly on a project basis, and you don't need to pay expensive overheads like office space. And with time tracking systems, it means that you only pay for the actual work done.
Ask Kochie time again, and Claire wrote to us on Twitter asking, how do I get suppliers to pay me on time? They're often behind and it really impacts on my cash flow. Well, as a business owner, you don't want to be chasing debts. You want to be working on your business. And the first step is creating a firm credit policy and invoicing system. Communicate your terms and expectations of the working relationship up front when you start the business, and invoice immediately with the details really clearly set out on your invoice. If someone is behind on a payment, follow it up quickly. It's never too early to chase them up. Also, make it as easy as possible to get paid. Offer all the standard payment options and set up electronic fund transfers. The easier you make it, the more likely you are to get paid on time. You can also consider discounts for early payments. Just be sure you factor this into your pricing. And don't forget, KBB Coaching is there to help with queries just like this one. A host of experts are online to chat from your home or your office. Just head to kbbcoaching.com.au for all the details. I'll catch you next time. Next week on KBB, we get the expert word on pitching for big business. Catch up with the girls behind Glasshouse Fragrances and get a lesson from Jolique's Lawrence Crisol. Don't forget to sharpen up in the meantime at kbbtv.com.au.